Hello? I think we're good this time. I think we're back for good. Are we back for good? No. We're back in the red zone. Okay, well, you guys let me know if it's terrible or not, and I'm just going to carry on. So, our item reference has move out ABS, which we went over, rotate, which takes a local pivot, and it does a few things here. We've got transform point by rotation, which is doing the heavy lifting. And I'm going to type in chat. Uber. Yeah. No, it seems to be good this end. It seems to be good this end. My music is stopped though. That's odd. Right.
Like, is any of this for real or not?
So, this gets, I mean, there's just a whole couple of things we need to do about rotation here, which I'm not going to go too in depth into, but rather than use like a transformation matrix, I've got like a function here called transform point by rotation, and this will take a local point and rotate the cell map matrix like an L shape around a specific point, and we use that for obviously rotation. And it's just a very simple algorithm. We just shuffle the X and the Y local coordinates depending on the type of rotation we're expecting. So if we're not expecting any rotation, we don't shuffle them. If we go 90 degrees, we swap things and make them negative and such. So very simple way to do rotation there. So that's the item reference. And then the other big part of the music stopped again. I think this just might be shit. Let's put something else on. No, wait. Let's go Nintendo and lo-fi. Yeah, that's better. Okay, storage grid. So obviously we've gone over these items. Storage grid is like this grid of cells that the items live on. So we've got our item refs, which are all of the items that live in a storage grid. We have a list of cells in use indexed by the X and Y coordinate, and that's recalculated whenever we add, remove, or move items in the grid. We've got an initializer for setting up the width and the height of the grid. We've got a functionality for testing if you've got like a item hovering, right? So if I've got something hovering, currently when I release, I get the grid position on the storage grid that we're over, and we pass that through, and it checks to see if it's a valid position, basically. So check valid position for overlaps. And how that works is it gets the cell indices in the item and shave it off, man. Shave what off? The hair. The beard. I guess I'm getting a small amount of beard, to be honest. probably needs to go, right? Then what happens? Yeah, we get the item indices. We check if that overlaps on the grid. That's what's happening there. And then we've got an addition for adding the item to the grid finally, once we've checked it's valid. And a remove. So there's a number of things that we haven't done yet. We need to add like the auto add. So if you pick up an item off the ground, it finds a valid grid position and automatically kind of adds it. Or if you've got a stack of bullets, for instance, that isn't full, and you pick up 10 bullets, and it adds that bullet to the stack. So those are the solutions we're going to try and sort out today, and they should be fairly simple. So the first thing we'll need to do is use this find item method, and that takes an item type. So in that example's case, we'd have handgun bullets. So we find the handgun bullets, we find all of the handgun bullet stacks, and then we're going to attempt to add to that stack rather than create a new instance of an item. So that's the first thing we'll do. But that's the data side of things. We've got like some stuff happening for the UI, obviously, which I'm not going to go into too much detail of, but it's kind of quite basic. It's just a visual layer on top of things, on top of the data side. Guess when we resize the screen, that's an issue. One that I'm not going to worry about for now. So yeah, how's everyone's week's been? Is anyone developing any games in chat at the moment, or because I'm eager to hear about them? Okay. So what's the first thing we should do? So we've got auto add, we've got add item. I guess we'll want to find the item type. So if we go to our add method here, that's kind of, I've uninstalled LOL Tuesday and reinstalled it yesterday. Is that a development? it's like it's a development in a way. Like, I think uninstalling LOL is character building, and reinstalling LOL is like giving in to just your base desires of getting shouted at online. You're a braver man than me, quite frankly. How's your Teemo at the moment, and Andrew? How's it? Are you like, because you've been playing Teemo since it released, right? Is Teemo meta? I don't even know. I've got no idea. Okay, so we find all the references to the item. Teemo OTP. Teemo's a yordle, right? That's what they call him in League. Teemo's always above the meta. He conquers all. Well, I mean, that's not what I've heard, but I'll take your guidance on that. Okay, so find existing instance of item. So we do find item, and we want to find all of the instances of Item dot item type. I suppose we'll want a this add, we're going to add a parameter to it, which is add to stack. Because sometimes we'll want to move something and not add it to an existing stack. So we'll just add a bool there called we'll call it add to stack. That makes sense. Auto add to stack. Maybe that's a bit long. We can set that to default to false. So auto add to stack might be something that we do when we automatically pick up something. So when we pick up some bullets, for instance. So if auto add to stack, we'll find all the instances of that item type. And then I suppose we want to check if they're full. So we do for each var item. We don't want to call it item, we've already got a item ref. Item in storage in items. I'm not entirely happy with that, but we'll go with it. Item in storage dot stack. So we'll check if item stack is full. Yeah, we'll do that at first. So we'll do if item in storage dot stack is I guess greater or equal to items item storage dot item type dot stack max. I suppose we want to check if it's less, and then if it is, we add to it. If item stack has space. And then we want to add to that stack, and any remainder will be added as a separate item. Which universe is the briefcase set in? Boy be racy. Well, Scott, briefcase is not in any universe at the moment. It's like its own cinematic universe, briefcase cinematic universe. So it's not been introduced into any of the extended Carson video game family yet. But I'm sure it's just a matter of time. Okay. Oh, hi Sweatshop. You could possibly have. Let's see what we got here. Excellent. I'm running out of O Carson universes now. Yeah, you've gone over most of them on stream, Scott. Sweatshop Dev, you could possibly have 2 stacks, so you might want to check if you can distribute the rest. Yeah, that's correct. So find item doesn't find just one item, but a list of all of the items of that type. So we'll store the remainder and then we'll just keep going through. What was the boulders game you made that time? Oh, Tiny Golem, I think. That was with a couple of other people. But yeah, that was pretty cool, I guess. Nova's here. Sorry I'm late, can you give me a quick recap? Yeah, there's not much to recap, Nova. So we're still going over the briefcase inventory system. I don't know if I've said that. So I've put a few days of work into it off stream. And so we've just got like a storage grid here. And you can rotate your items. You can rotate them around like selected points. So I can rotate it like this or like this or whatever. So that's cool. And at the moment I'm just sorting out stacks and like adding stuff. So yeah, I'll be honest, this week's been a bit all over the place for me. So I've been a little bit less prepared for this stream than I have been like any other stream. So I'm going relatively ad hoc, but I think if we get the item stacking working, and then maybe I'll make a item drop on the floor. Maybe I'll like put an item on the floor that the user can pick up, and we'll test to see if it works. So at the moment we're so this is like the storage grid data side, Nova. So like we're keeping the data side of the storage and the UI side separate, and when we add something we can make it auto add to a stack of things or not if we want it to be a separate stack. So I'm just implementing that logic now. So what we're doing is if we're auto adding to a stack, we find all the items of the item type we want to add, and then we iterate over them, and if they've got space we'll add you know, a value based on the current item to that stack. So that's where we're at. It should just work. I think I've done all of the tough stuff for this project, to be honest. So if the item stack has space, yeah, so if it's below stack max, we get that item and we do item in storage dot stack plus equals. Maybe I should have a function for that. I'm not going to do that for now. Equals item dot stack, and then so I'll just add them together, and then if it's over I'll create like actually let's do var stack number, and we'll use that. So we'll do item dot stack. So that'd be the number of things we want to add. Let's call this items to add. Yeah, that makes sense. We find a stack with empty space, we add them to that stack. If I think this logic's a little bit dirty, but we can do, if the item stack is larger than the stack max, we'll set item items to add to the remainder. So that'll be stack max takeaway stack. I think that makes sense. Oh, takeaway. Takeaway item storage dot stack. This should be named something differently. So let's add some comments for this. If item stack, maybe I'll zoom in a bit more. If item stack has space, add stack, add items to stack, and then if stack is larger than max, set remainder to items to add. Okay, good. So that will keep going, and if we've got any items to add at the end, we'll set the item stack to if items to add is greater than 0. If items to add is greater than 0, item dot so we set the current items stack to the remainder, and then it will get added in our standard code. Otherwise we're done and we return. I probably don't need those brackets there, but return. Do we return anything? That'll be a success, so that'd be true. So again, I'm going to just try and comment each section of this so you guys understand what's happening. So if there's any items left, add back to stack. Comments. Oh, great. Yeah. Correct, Nova. Correct. I try my best, but I am lazy and sloppy with them sometimes. Add back to stack. Otherwise, we're done. Okay. Nothing's whenever we add something at the moment, we're not setting this to true, so this code won't run yet. So let's add that to our auto add. That might have an issue because we pass in a position for the item to go, and we don't have that with auto add, so we'd need to get that X and Y position first. One thing I always do is embed debug assets all over. So if items to add is less than 0, wondering why you don't assert just style. Like I probably should be, to be honest. I'm quite, I don't know, I can be quite sloppy sometimes when it comes to code. And generally, when something becomes a problem, I'll run it, yeah? I'll run the software, and then if an error comes up, I'll deal with it then. But I do try and plan stuff out. So I'm not super sloppy, but I will deal with that when it's an issue, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, hey Ridley, how's it going? That's why I set to detect the foot guns ASAP. Let's have a look at what we've done then. So, in add, let's think about what we're doing. I don't know if this would cause any problems yet. It looks legit. I was just wondering your style. Slightly sloppy is my style. So yeah. But I think this does have an issue. So for example, if we tried to add bullets and we didn't have a spare slot, this wouldn't work. Well, it would work, but it's not ideal. So I think we probably need like a separate method for it. And maybe that's something, maybe we take this code out, put it into a separate function. It's called in auto add. The fall through works. So I think this would work, but at the moment, because if we try and add something and there's no space for it, we're never getting to this code. So I think this code needs to happen in auto add rather than in add, and I think that makes sense. So yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Let's remove that. We're not going to do that here. I'll put that in auto add. Okay. How's everyone's days going? I hope everyone's had like a cool day. Mine's been a little bit stressful, but I'm getting there. Has everyone been at work? I assume everyone's been at work. Okay. Just woke up. That's the dream, Nova. I don't know what time it is over there, but it's like it's just coming up to the afternoon. Imagine having a job. Yes, sweatshop dev. Yeah. I'm like a freelancer, so like. Oh, hey, it's Glums as well. How's it going, Glums? I don't have much visual stuff to show today, so I hope that doesn't scare some of you off. But it is what it is. You got a name check as being a freelancer in my uni lecture the other. Really? Wow. Just spin the Tetris, blame. Yep. Well, your uni name checked me. They must be desperate, dude. I mean, I do okay. I'm not like, you know, I make enough money to live. But, I don't know if I'm a good example of a freelancer. Yeah, it was a guest lecturer. Oh, okay. Do you know who it was? Can you mention that? I don't know. Maybe not. I'm not really sure. Maybe you don't want to dox someone accidentally. Maybe I know them. Maybe that's it. Right, back to the task at hand. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, okay. I'm drawing up a blank, but thanks for the hint. you can tell me after the stream or something. Right. So that's the auto ad. It wasn't meant to be cryptic. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, thanks, Nova. That's thank you. I need to put more effort into my dots course. I am planning to reshoot it and update it. But I do try my best. I'm always trying to get better at my like video production skills and teaching people things. Like the issue with Twitch streaming is most of my video content is like I film it, and then I need to edit it down so it's like coherent, because I do tend to waffle and delay and think about things before getting into it. And I think people are after a concise guide to things, you know? Right, so this bit is fine, but when the stack has items left in it, we need to find a empty space for we need to find an empty space for our item, and if it doesn't exist, we need to return false. So I could give you a hand with that. I've written tutorials at my last job, got learning outcomes ready ahead of time, helps organize the lesson. Yeah, well, maybe that's something we could talk about at some point, Dev. Like, in general, what I tend to do is I'll make like a whole project and then break it down into steps. But I'm always open to kind of like learning more about how I should be delivering things and planning things, I suppose. So yeah, maybe we'll have a chat about that at some point. Right. Okay. So let's just put some comment in here so I don't get sidetracked again. Find available space for item if possible. So I haven't actually thought about how I'm going to do that, so I'm just going to brute force it. And to brute force it, if we load it up again, to brute force it, I'm just going to pick a pivot point and then go from 0 0 1 0 2 0 3 0 and just rotate. Oh, this needs to be restart because I've edited the code. But yeah, I'm just going to go through all of the cells individually and just rotate them and see if they fit. And that's a real brute force way to do things, but for what we're doing, I think that should be fine. So to do that, I'll need to iterate through the width and the height. So int x equals 0, and then we'll do x equals, well, x is less than size dot width x plus plus, and we'll do the same for y. And obviously that needs to use the height. Okay. And then we need to check if valid position. How do we do that again? We've got check valid grid pos. Yeah. Check valid grid pass. So we pass in the X and the Y, and the item that we're checking, which is just called the item. And then we add it, right? We just add it. So X, Y is a valid grid position, so we can just add the item. And then we return. So yeah. Yeah. Add item. Alright, let's just quickly go over all this again just to make sure it makes sense. So auto add is called when you pick up something off the ground. Or maybe you want to like auto organize your inventory or something. And it takes an item that you picked up. We find all existing instances of that item. And then for each of those instances, we check if it has space in the stack. If it does, we add items to the stack and we keep going until there's none left. If there are items left over, we set the initial item stack to the leftover remainder of items, and we try and find a valid space in the grid by iterating over each grid position and seeing if it's a valid position. Now, this isn't checking rotations, so I guess if we want to be super thorough, we would also have another loop, which is incredibly messy. Again, this code could definitely use reorganizing. And how are we going to do that? So our rotations are just 0. Wait, what am I doing? So our rotation is either 0, 1, 2, or 3 for 0, 90, 180, and 270 degree rotations. Bug: if item stack is over max, we need to set it to max. So I think, yeah, I suppose the item that we pick up could be over the max per stack. If item storage stack is greater, oh, yeah, no, you are right. That's a good spot, Nova. Good point. I totally missed that, man. Nova. So, wait, let me think about this. No, you're totally right. You're totally right. That's a very good spot. Thank you. That's very helpful. And we just set it to this. Yeah. Nice. Thank you. Thank you for that. Check if valid position. So we're going to iterate through all of the different rotation values for each cell. So let's do that for int int rot equals 0. Rot plus plus rot is less than 4. And we can just do item dot rotation equals rot. I think that should be safe, although I'm a little worried about it. Well, what have I done here? Sorry. That's silly of me. Right. Okay, that makes sense. Now, the UI wouldn't get updated at that point. We'd need to update that. So for now, as a workaround, like just to get stuff working, because we're an hour in, we had some technical issues at the start. So I'm going to go to the item UI. The item UI has a text number, which is the stack. I guess this should really be called text stack. And I'm just going to... What am I going to do there? I'll just add an update in. I'll add this an update for now. This isn't what you should be doing. Text number dot text equals item dot stack. Item dot stack dot toString. Okay. And for my item type, I'm going to set the default stack max to be, let's say, 10. And for my example code, I just add some items to a storage grid, and I'm just going to set those. What am I going to do? In item ref, I think the stack is defaulting to 0, so I'm going to default that to 1. That makes sense. I think that all makes sense. Okay. Right, yeah, so it's hard to see, but well, the number 1 is there at the bottom now, and I think what we'll do is we'll create a pickup on the floor that you can pick up and will be automatically added. Now, I think one of the issues we've got at the moment is the item types aren't, there's no like lookup table for the types. We're just creating new references and we create a new item type. So that's going to cause issues with that. But in the interest of brevity, I think we're going to add a pickup. We'll create a pickup and we'll deal with the item type issue later. So that's cool. We get to go back into our 3D space now, which is way more exciting than code. So it's been a while since I've I've looked at the 3D space of this project. Oh, this is the other station. Here we go. So I want to create a pickup, and that's just going to use a trigger for now. So let's create a new C# script, and we'll call this item pickup. Double click on that. We'll just use on trigger enter, I think, for now. We'll do public on trigger enter. And if the other trigger is or has a player component, I think that's how we're doing it. Have a look at our fixed camera. Yeah, if other.tag equals player, I think that's what we'll do here as well. And item pickup's going to need an item type, so do public item type. Or do we want like an item ref? I guess we want item ref. And I suppose we'll need to make that item ref serializable so we can modify its parameters in the inspector. So I'll call that item. Oh, Nintendo and Lo-Fi 3. Here we come. I hope everyone's having a chill evening. It's important to be chill in these times. Item. Like, you ever have one of those days where you're just getting super stressed? Vibing. Still at work, want to go to bed. So some people are vibing, some people are literally wishing for an end of their lives. But the weekend's nearly here, so I hope everyone can have a chill weekend. Alright, so this grey box is going to be our item, and we'll set that to a trigger. We'll add an item pickup. Oh yeah, and of course this isn't getting serialized, so if we go to item ref, we're going to need to make this serialized at some point anyway, so we just mark it as system.serializable, and it should just kind of appear in the inspector. Yeah, so now we can kind of unfold it. We've got stack and rotation. We'll need to make the item type. So this is the issue we're going to have with item type, because item type needs to be a one type. But we could use the name of it as an identifier for now while we're figuring that out. Okay, so the default is temp. Firstly, system.serializable. Now when we go to our item script, the definition should be serializable. Yeah, so we can unfold that now. It's defaulting to temp. I want this to be bullets, so we'll just name that bullets. The stack will be, well, you know what, I'll change this a bunch. The stack will have like 5 bullets. The max stack will be 50 bullets. What is item ref versus item type? So item type is a definition of an item. So so your bullets will be defined in type. So this will be handgun bullets, and handgun bullets will have a max stack of 50, for instance. Now, rather than having this populated in the inspector, this will have to be, what we'll probably do is we'll create a scriptable object to store all of our types of item and then reference them from there. But for now, we'll reference them by name, and yeah, they just define what it is. So yeah, so it's use, I suppose. An item ref is a reference, is an item that you pick up that is of a type. I don't know if item ref is a good name for it, but it's a version of that item type. So the item type is kind of like all definition data. It's all it's like more like an item definition, and the item ref is an instance of that item. Because obviously those two need to be different. We need to like separate our data from the actual item itself, which we're not doing right now. But maybe we will. We'll call this, so we'll call this bullets. Item bullets, I guess. Oh, and when it's picked up, we'll dispose of it. So where was that? Item pickup. So if other tag equals player, okay, so the player doesn't have an instance, doesn't have an access at the moment to an instance of storage. So that might be something that we want to think about doing. Yeah, so we've got player controller here at the moment, which we haven't looked at since the first stream, I think. So we'll give that an instance of our UI, our storage grid UI. And then we can go through that to get the storage grid. Because, for example, we might have multiple... You could have multiple players with different storage grids, or like enemies could have their own like storage grids. So, but at the moment we'll use a storage grid UI, but that will probably have to change. So, yeah, we'll just create a reference to storage grid UI and access that through the player controller. And rather than, yeah, that makes sense. In our item pickup, if other tag equals player, maybe we'll do if other tag, and again, this is probably slower, dot has component, dot transform, dot has component, or was it game object? Yeah, dot game object, dot has component. Get component, is that what I want? I could have sworn there was a has component. Try get component. Yeah, that's it. And that's going to get the player controller. Out. And we want to output that to player instance. Just again, maybe this is not a great way to do it. I'll just set that to null. And then through player instance, we can do storage grid dot. I guess we want to add through the storage grid. I don't think we've got functionality for that yet, so that's something we'll need to add. We'll probably add that now. So add auto. Let's go to our storage grid UI. Yeah, so we've got create, grab, and place. Can just define inside the if try get component out var player instance. I did not know that actually, Nova. That's actually really handy. I had no idea about that. Just another thing that I was just unaware of in C#. So you can just output directly to a variable. Oh, yeah, because I've already defined it. That's nuts, man. I had no idea. I had no idea about that. I've only been getting into using the var keyword, well, I say recently, over the past year or so, and there's all of these hidden intricacies, you know. New in C#7 or something. Yeah, yeah. I'm getting used to using tuples recently. Hard to keep up the new shit. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, I've been getting into using tuples recently, because it really cleans up your output parameters. So like if this used a tuple, instead of just outputting a bool, you could output a bool and, you know, a component type. But yeah, that's really useful as well. And I think that's a C#7 feature. Right, so storage grid UI, we need to add, so we've got place at the moment, and we're going to do public. There's a couple things we'll need to do here, because we're not creating an instance of the item cell item UI. Okay. Let's not worry about it for now. I guess we want to return a bool, and we want auto add. Maybe we do that. Let's no, let's just add an item for now, and we'll worry about the intricacies later. So that'd be an item ref item. We'll need to create an instance of item cell UI for that item. So initialize grid items. We've just got some code to do that here. Auto add. Yeah, so we create an instance of item UI. We pass in item, and at the moment I'm passing in a cell. So that's like the cell UI it belongs to. I suppose it doesn't belong to a cell UI yet though, so maybe this needs to be null. I need to think about how I'm initializing it. Probably need to change this. Or maybe I need to initialize it after I found the cell. Because I might not need an item UI. So I suppose we do storage grids. We're going to add it to the first storage grid. Add auto, and we add item. Let's refresh what's going on in there. So we find existing instances, So this needs to return not only if it's successful, but if we need to... No, okay, that's fine. It returns if it's successful, and we can have a look at the item stack. So the item stack, we always want to set that. So we do item stack equals however many items there are left to add. Okay. Yeah. So that will modify that reference item. And if there's any in the stack left, then we need to create a UI for it. So if item dot stack is greater than 0, then we'll create the UI. So we just instantiate an item prefab and initialize it, and we'll need to pass in the cell because we've found it. We found an X and a Y coordinate for it to go in. So we'll need to get a reference to that in UI space. And I think I'm doing that by grid cells. And that's a dictionary with a key called storage grid. There's a lot happening here. This is not like something I can just quickly casually go over, but I hope it makes some sense. So we're using the storage grid as a key in this grid cells dictionary, right? At least I think that's what's going on. Yeah, we use a storage grid as a key, and we can get the cell by passing in item dot x item. Oh, it's item pos, isn't it? Item dot pos dot x item dot pos dot y. Oh, yeah. That seems. I think that should work. Item stack. Oh, we also need to check if this was successful, because if it's not successful, then there's no room to add to the item. So so if item stack is greater than 0 and success. So I think in the full game, if we can't add it to the existing storage, we add it to a temporary storage. And I've got that kind of implemented, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. But in theory, it's as easy as just doing what we're doing here, but to a different storage grid, which we'll just be using as temporary storage. So also return. I suppose we want to return success for now. I don't know if we're going to be using that anywhere. I didn't pay attention, but storage grids.add auto modifies the item ref position. Yes. So let's quickly go over that. So we find the item. Yeah, we find all the instances of an item, deal with that stuff. If there's any items left, add back to the stack. Find available space for the item if possible. And add item. So this process of adding the item, that sets up the item's position. So we didn't actually go over that, so I can see how a lot of this is confusing. But I do think it's fairly solid. It just needs a bit of clearing up. Okay, this is close to working. Item UI, item pickup. So item pickup, add auto. We add the item. Add auto. Player instance.storage grid dot add. What have I done here? Storage grid. Oh, okay. So rather than a cell, this needs to be the storage grid. That's just a typo. So we do storage grid dot add auto. Pass in the item. Okay. So again, to reiterate what's happening here, the player will collide with this. This onTrigger enter function will be called. We'll get the player's storage area, and then we auto add the item that's associated with this item pickup. The auto add happens in the UI space. So that checks if it can be added, and if it can be, it deals with creating the UI for it. Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay. I think we'll need to... I think there's stuff I haven't thought about that will cause problems. But let's see what happens. Oh, I need to destroy... Am I destroying the item when I collide with it? No, so we'll just do GameObject.destroy. Yeah, like... There's just like... Sometimes like these simple things, there's a lot of like little conditions that you're like, oh, I didn't think about that, and you just end up being like, okay, I'm gonna make this really simple lean system, and it's really easy to get it out of control. Like the data side of this is like really simple, but wrangling it within the Unity UI has been the kind of, you really have to wrangle it, you know? So what will happen now is when we pick up this item, it's going to add a new object rather than adding to a stack. Let's play this and see what happens. Okay, right. So we can use the scene view as our kind of camera for now. So we go into this. That's not being triggered. Right. Item bullets. Tag player. Oh, of course. So we're actually colliding with this rigid body rather than the player object. do you think a stateless UI might have been a viable alternative? Like the UI just queries the current state and spits it out, versus what it seems to be right now, update UI state with every change. Yeah, I think that is a viable alternative. The new UI system that they're adding into Unity should be better at that type of thing. So you could definitely implement that. I think maybe there's parts of this UI solution that I've kind of done a bit wrong. So when I've got it all working and completed, I'll probably go back and just tweak it. But yeah, just querying the current state is probably a better idea, to be honest. But sometimes I've been working with the hindsight. Yeah, exactly. I've been working with the Unity UI system for a while, and I will say it has its fair share of issues. Which is why I'm so frustrated that they delayed the new one. They keep delaying it. It looks to be just so much better, particularly for stuff like that. Right, so this is failing because the player controller isn't the parent of the collider. So as another dirty hack, I'm going to do other.parent, other.transform .parent, and that is a dirty hack. But it should work. Right. Okay, no, that's not right. Null object reference. Player instance. Oh, yeah, I've not set this up in code. My player needs its own storage assigned, so we just need to assign that. That's like the classic Unity error, is forgetting to assign something in the inspector. I don't know if this is going to update visually. Null reference exception, auto add object not set. Item storage in items. Items equals find item. Items null. Yeah, it must be. Oh yeah, no, it exactly is. Oh, that was silly of me. Yeah, so that just needs to return items found. Right, let's restart this. Right. Okay. The item isn't being added. I thought that might be the case. It's being added to the data, but I don't think it's being updated in the canvas. Oh, it is in the canvas. Let's have a look. So we've got two items in the same place. Obviously, that's not ideal. But it is progress. Okay. Items to add, items stack, items to add isn't getting decremented, is it? No, yeah, it is, yeah. I'm just going to put some debugs in. So we'll do debug.log. And I'm going to look at items.count. Existing item count. And debug.log. I want to see the amount of items that are left to add. Okay. We'll probably be doing something a lot more visual next week. So I want to work on a dialogue system, and I think next week I'm going to be spending some time just going over like just adding in things into this scene, like different triggers and like key items, that kind of thing. So if you're not really into seeing someone program run into various issues with programming, then maybe next week will be a bit more exciting. Items to add 5. That makes sense because the stack is 5. It didn't find any existing items because there are none. So that's good. And then check valid grid pos. There might be something broken here. Check valid grid pass. We'll just see where we're adding to see if it's like a visual bug or a data bug. Debug.log item. I'd like to get this working before the end of the stream. I'm sure we can. We've got about 20 minutes left. It'd be good to have that as an achievement that we've done today. So, item added at 0, 0. Yeah, so something's going wrong because that's 0, 0. The bottom left is 0, 0. So that's not quite working. I think it might be to do with the rotation. Set a breakpoint. Yeah, I could do that. I'm not going to though. You are right though. I'm like, I should be using breakpoints here. Right. Here's what we're going to do. Wait. I think there's some assumptions I'm making which... Check if valid position. So... Okay. So check item, overlap cells. So in our storage grid, we've got this list called cells in use, which is every X and Y position which is currently in use. I can only assume that this isn't being set correctly. Or isn't being set yet, maybe. When does this get populated? Update cell status. And we'll just find all the references for that. Whenever we add anything, or remove anything, we update this cell status. So that should be... that should be correct. So that's worrying. Update cell status. Cell indices. So cell indices are populated when we update the cell map. And that just, yeah. Oh. Yeah, so that's correct. That is definitely correct. So something else is happening, which we need to figure out. So again, let's go back to our code and just double check everything that's happening. So the position of the item is being added correctly, but our overlap check isn't working, so auto add. I think maybe our item its definition of its collision box hasn't been populated yet. I'm pretty sure that's what's happening. So if we have a look in storage grid UI, we're what are we doing? We add a new item ref, and in maybe not, because we move it. I don't know if we're going to be able to solve this one in this stream. It's probably something incredibly dumb, and I'm not sure how fun it is for you lot to see this, to be honest. To see me kind of fail to solve a basic error. So we're just gonna keep trying for the next 20 minutes. So if you want to stick around for that, be my guest. Where is the item size slots set in the item type? So there's a couple of different steps. So in item type, we've got this cell map, and that's just symbols like we did last week. So this is true, 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 false, false. So it's 3x2. I think it's actually a 2x3 grid. So which is why we get the L shape. In the item ref, whenever we move something, we set the position X and Y, and then we go to update cell map, and that will essentially create a version of the cell map to the current rotation. And then just append to the position. So we have a bunch of X and Y cell points which the item ref populates. So and in storage grid we take the item ref and we check for valid item grid positions on that item at different positions. I'm worried if it's something to do with the rotation. Something I've maybe overlooked. So I might just comment out the rotation. And see what's happened there. I'm not sure what's happened. Okay. Yeah, so that is, again, that's just having it at 0, 0. So it's nothing to do with the rotation, which is good news. Check that grid position. Item type. Let's have a look. It might be that the cell map is just not defined. Let's have a look. It looks to be set up. It looks fine. Item type. I feel like we should do something fun. So we can see if the default items are causing it, or if it's for the find slot code. I think it's something in the find slot. Has my internet died? No, we're good. So if I just load this in, yeah, like this does work. So the overlaps are. Oh, something's gone wrong there. Okay. Yeah, there is a couple of things that need to be modified there. This code is working, so I can't place things over other things at startup. So the actual checks themselves are working. I think there's a couple of checks that need to be added to solve that little bug we just saw. So ship it. Like, yeah, ship it. Done. But it's not working. And the music stopped. Oh. That's Captain Falcon, everyone's favourite. I don't know what he is. He's a bounty hunter, right? Everyone's favourite racing bounty hunter. Maybe if we just spend some time with Captain Falcon, we can absorb some of his knowledge. I don't know if he's a particularly good programmer, to be honest, but I'm sure he could, given a chance. Okay. To add item.
Open your eyes.
Find item. That all happens. Find available space. This is the section where it's failing. Size.width, size.height. Check if it valid position. X and Y. X and Y. So we move our item, and then the item's cell indices get updated. Yeah, breakpoint. Like, I'm not great with breakpoints. I need to spend some time with them. You are right though. That probably would solve things. But I think it's a little bit too late in the day to fix this. I think we'll probably close this up because I don't think I'm going to make this progress. It's probably going to take me another 20 minutes or something to solve. Hopefully next week this should all be working. I'll add some visuals to it as well, so it's not just green boxes, it's like icons, because these green boxes are awful. And I'll make some of the UI niceties happen as well, so I'll just make it a bit more usable. But yeah, I think that will be all of the coding we do today. So it's a shame we couldn't fix that, but I feel like we did do a fair bit of programming. It's just a shame we couldn't get that working. So if I pick this up now, yeah, it would, in theory, add it to 0, 0. Yeah, so it is adding it. It's just our find space code is having some kind of an issue that we're not really sure about. We also need to add like the definition of items. We need to properly create a scriptable object for that. So I'll do that in the interim period between now and next week. And once that's all done, maybe we can go back to the business of making fun action in games. So we can have, you know, we can go back to doing animations for things, making levels, you know, shooting zombies, and maybe do a bit of modeling. I'm interested in doing some basic 3D modeling. I haven't done any for a while. I'd like to make a new character, as we've kind of got this. We've had this red character, which I got from, where did I get it from? Mixamo.com. We've had this character for a while, so it'd be nice if we could have something custom like we have for everything else. Sometime can you show me how to use Mixamo? I'll tell you what, just to quickly end this stream up, right? Mixamo's dead simple. If you, I don't know if you missed the animation stream we did, Nova, but in the archive, in some of the old videos I've got, we go over we go over rigging. I use a tool to rig and animate stuff, and a lot of that's taking Mixamo animations and modifying them. And with Mixamo, yeah, check it out, it's pretty cool. But all you do, I mean, this is basically what I use it for. I don't tend to upload my own characters or anything, but you can just find a test character of some kind. Like if you want like a bunch of walk cycles, you can just find a walk cycle. Yeah. Let's get something. Let's get this sword one, and you'll see how it'll just show you a little preview. Now some of these come in packs. Like you'll get like military pack where it'll have everything you need for a military shooter, like strafing and stuff. You just download this, yeah, as an FBX. Yeah, I'll do that. And all you need to do is like drag and drop it in, and it'll be the character you've got in here. But you can also use it for animation retargeting. So this is all using Mixamo animations that have been modified. So if you want to use Mixamo, you basically need to learn how to use the animator a bit. So if you've not used the animator before, that's something to look into. But if you need if you're interested in like another stream where we go over how the animator works, that's something we can do, because I think we are going to need to make some more animations soon. So but yeah, it's just a really powerful way to figure out your animations. If you're not using the animator, like, it's really worth looking into. So yeah, hopefully we'll have like this inventory system kind of polished off for next week. I'll go over what's happened in that, and maybe we can start doing events and dialogue and putting in some like extra characters you can talk to, and kind of get the kind of just some of the basic things you'd expect from like a video game, just in as functionality, and we can skin it. So yeah, like that's kind of all I've got for today, sadly. Oh, now I don't know, normally I raid Sweatshop Dev. I don't know if he's online. He probably is. Let's have a look, shall we? Yeah, so Sweatshop Dev's doing some game dev at the moment. So let's give him a little raid. I just need to wrap my boomer head around Twitch. Sweatshop Dev. And thanks for... Let's see if I've done this correct. I have to check every time. Did I do that correct? Yeah. So thanks again for watching. More progress next week. Thanks for your support, and thanks for chatting, everyone, and I'll see you next week, hopefully. Yeah. All right. Cheers. Let's raid Dev. Show him a warm welcome. All right.